Welcome to the Whitetail Advantage Podcast with your host, Brett Bovin. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy the show.
What is up, guys? This is Brett Bovin, and this is a show not just for hunters, but all outdoorsmen alike. And welcome to the motherfucking electronic campfire. Now, before we kick things off into the real actual show, we get everything to them, we have a couple things we want to say here. We are not politically correct. We cover topics not just in hunting, but everything in society. And we speculate what's true and not true and discuss how we, the people, need to fix these problems that we face. Now, we have shows within the show. What I mean by that is on Sundays, we cover, it's a round table type segment. We can bring guests on, or it's just the four of us, whatever we want. And we talk about all variety of different topics that we face in hunting and outdoors as well. And Tuesday's show, we cover a specific state, and we bring a guest that lives and hunts in that state, and we discuss everything that we need to know about in the ins and outs about that state as well. So just to get a good hunting atmosphere of what's going on in that state. So we do a live show on Sundays and Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our YouTube page. Now, we love to conduct these live shows because we want to give everyone out there the opportunity to interact with us as well as the guest right there on the spot. So we encourage everyone to comment whatever you want to comment during our live show here, because then we'll see the comments there. We'll have fun with it, interacting with you guys during the show. And some we might even pop up here on the screen while we're having the live show as well. So we encourage everyone out there to comment whatever you want to comment, and we're excited about that. Another aspect of the show is we don't run ads. We don't run ads from certain companies. Now, we have partnered with companies and we do our own type of ads. However, as I mentioned before, we're not politically correct. We have partners. Like I said, we have partners, but no matter what, we speak our minds and don't hold anything back. We will not be controlled in any way. We say what we want, basically, and we are unapologetic and unafraid of that. Like I said, we are tired of the fake woke cancel culture that we live in, shadow banning that we face every day. So we need more Americans to stand up to this fake leftist, communist culture that's being narrated out there these days. Another thing that we have here on the show, we have a saying. We have two sayings, really. First one is, put your quarter in a slot machine. What I simply mean by that is just to help share the show. That's all I ask everybody out there. See someone walking down the street, or you're texting a buddy, hey, Whitetail Advantage Podcast, they do a live show. Like I said, we don't just cover topics in hunting. We also cover topics in the outdoors, elk hunting, moose hunting, everything. We'd love covering everything. Granted, we are more geared towards whitetails, but yes, we love to cover everything. So we're not just geared down towards that. So put your core in the slot machine, help share the show. So we ask everybody out there. As always, we want to say thank you to all our men and women in the military for their service. We are greatly appreciative for that, along with all the policemen, the firefighters, nurses, doctors, and corrections officer, everyone in public service. We want to say thank you for your service. We wouldn't be here without you guys. Now, do not forget, no excuses, just results. Now, let's kick things over to the guys, and let's really get this show on the road here. How's it going, everyone? It's Tuesday, January 28th, and today, it's like I said, it's Tuesday. We're covering Vermont. We have a great guest, Nick, and with us tonight, we also have Squatch and David. Johnny's at home pretending to be sick, so we're going to be requiring a sick note from him from his doctor. Otherwise, he's going to be on suspension. And also, before we bring everyone on, there was a funny comment, and Squatch, I think, is going to really love, the team's going to love this one, from Flavors of the Forest. Yeah, you have to be crazy to sponsor this show for sure. Thumbs up. Oh my gosh, we love those guys over at Flavors Forest. Hey, you're looking for a new seasoning? Go check them out. All right, enough of me jibber jabbering. Let's bring everybody into the show for tonight. What's up, fellas? Hey, David. Hey, Squatch. And hey, Nick.
What's up, fellas?
Thanks for coming on the show, Nick.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I was looking forward to it after we talked the other night. And we can basically ignore these other two clowns if you want. If you want, we can just kick them. We can just be us if you want.
That was good to me. Whatever, you know.
You're not single on you, are you? Because that's what happens. He starts hitting on you after Tippy Cow.
Well, the way he's starting
Sorry,
out with no signal, he may be glitchy. We may be running the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. So we're here in Michigan, and at least where I live, it's a huge like hurricane stuff outside. So that sucks. And I'm not drinking Tippy Cow tonight. I saved it for another night. So you're not going to get the privilege of that.
So you're out.
No, I still have a bottle and a half.
Oh Jesus.
Nick, have you ever heard of Tippy Cow?
I haven't.
Do you like rum shada?
I haven't heard of that.
I haven't heard of that. Yeah, I don't.
See, he's a man. Beer and whiskey. Sorry.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you like any type of like fruity type drinks?
Not really, no.
Okay, fuck off.
No, when I went to basic training, our drill sergeant told us we were all done with fruity shit. It was beer and whiskey.
Okay. It's just a great drink, so whatever. If you guys don't, I feel like I have to defend myself. Nick, again, thank you for coming on the show. For anyone that doesn't know you, can you give a little background about yourself, brother?
Yeah, so I grew up in Vermont. I've lived here my whole life, born and raised. Followed my dad around ice fishing and deer hunting as a kid, and never really cared about anything but deer. And then turkey kind of came along once I got hunter's ed. All of a sudden I cared about turkey because it seemed like the easiest thing to shoot. So we did that, and then I started deer hunting, and we had a camp in the Adirondacks, so not too far away, right across the big lake here.
Nice.
And that's kind of where I cut my teeth. Vermont's not a real great state to deer hunt in, so did most of my hunting over there, and then as I got older, I actually kind of moved back over, because how we hunt mostly is tracking in the snow, and Adirondack bucks tend not to have really big feet, so it can be real hard to decipher, a young buck versus a mature buck. And not that it matters most of the time for most people, and it certainly didn't matter for me when I was younger. Most people around here are shooting the first legal buck they see. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I kind of moved over to New Hampshire and Maine, where the deer have bigger feet, they get bigger bodies, and it's just a lot easier to say, well, that deer's got a big foot, he's got a long stride when he walks, and his feet are staggered apart. They're not like in a line like a doe, they're staggered back and forth, and so that really enabled me to get on some bigger, more mature bucks. And eventually I ended up getting into this moose guiding thing, which I do in Vermont and Maine. So I've kind of had my feet in all of it now. I've been Colorado mule deer hunting and elk hunting, and I just kind of love all of it.
How long have you been guiding for moose?
Since like 2012.
Oh wow.
Well, that's when I graduated high school, to age anybody out there.
Yeah.
No,
it took him 6 years.
It took me 4.5. I'm kidding. No, the air. I can never say that word. Adirondacks. I feel like I'm butchering that word.
Adirondacks.
Yeah, there we go. That word. Mm-hmm. That's near Squatch, right?
Yeah, the Adirondacks are about 2.5 hours north of me.
Okay, I said near you, so it doesn't have to be right on fucking top of you.
Basically.
Yeah. So like up there in Vermont, though, that's some thick woods.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting state because we kind of have it all, right? If you get on the western part of the state towards Lake Champlain, mm-hmm. You get a lot of that farm country, Flatter, Addison County, kind of, the lower end of the lake all the way to Burlington. And then once you get north of Burlington, kind of the northwest corner of the state, that's also the same. There's a lot of farm country in there, and you can get a little farther east before you hit the mountains. That's all like Franklin County. So you can kind of, like, if you're a guy that likes to be able to see deer, when they're a long ways away, maybe if you're a rifle hunter, if you're a bow hunter and you're trying to just put eyes on them and then maybe move a little closer for the next day or whatever, that would be a good area. But then if you hunt, the southern or the central part of the state, you have the Green Mountain chain, and it's all mature hardwoods. It's all national forest. It hasn't been logged. There's not really much for oak trees. So there's basically no acorns in the state. Very minimal, and then the beech nuts, of course, we get beech trees, but the beech nuts are only every 3 or 4 years really when they have a good crop. So, there's a lot of the state that's just mature hardwood, and it's just not conducive to having a high deer population, and we don't have great genetics either. So when you kind of mix all that in, a lot of the state's just not great for somebody trying to shoot a mature buck. And then the northeast part of the state, personally, I think is the best, because you get into some bigger timber country that's logged, and that just gives the deer a lot more feed. Those deer up in that area tend to weigh up a little heavier. And there's been some pretty good racks taken. Unfortunately, that's kind of where everybody that wants to track goes, or guys that are having a hard time finding public land will head that way. It's not necessarily public, but it's timber company, so anybody's pretty much welcome.
Yeah.
I remember talking with it's big something. I'm drawing a blank on the name right now. They're up there in Maine. The big hunting show, Big
Woods Bucks.
Yeah, Big Woods Buck. I was drawing a blank on there.
That's
I
how
remember them coming. I had them on the show, and I believe I was talking with them, and they said, yeah, they don't really look at score. They look at the weight of the deer compared to the actual score of the antlers up there in that neck of the woods. Only because it's so thick, and you don't have that type of like food crops like you would out here in like the Midwest that we offer.
Yeah, it's the best way to age a deer here, without pulling a tooth or getting pictures of him and really being able to study him, is just by looking at his track. And you can tell some deer just, they have certain ways they walk, once they really start to stagger their steps, or you can see they'll swing their feet out to the side. They all have little nuances that they do. Their toes might be pointed out as they get older, and they get rounded off from being in the rocks and stuff. There's just a lot of little things that, just by themselves are not really key indicators, but when you start putting them all together, you can tell the difference between a 2.5-year-old buck and 4.5 or 5.5-year-old buck. And to be quite honest, most guys are still gonna, we got 2.5-year-old deer that are dressed out at 170 pounds, so there's still a pretty good sized deer, and they're 2.5, 3.5-year-old bucks still gonna have a somewhat of a 8-point rack or something. And like I said, in the Northeast, most guys are dumping that deer immediately. So
it's about our 3-year-old size. It's 175 pounds in our area.
I've tracked a couple, Nick, over the years. Maybe you've seen this too when you were talking in relationship to how their feet swing out. They almost get flat-footed, so like their dew claws are really mashed down into the snow, or you can see it in the mud. Their hoof actually bends out flat. They're so old, like the tendons start breaking down in their feet.
Oh yeah. The only I try to not talk about dew claws too much though, because once you get 2 inches of snow and over, like, people see the dew claws and they're automatically like, well, I can see the dew claws, and I'm like, well, dude, there's a foot of snow, of course you can see the dew claws,
right?
But like you're saying, if you really pay attention, then they're gonna be pushed right tight to the ground.
Sure.
Nick, now I want to ask, how are you hunting up there personally?
So I just track. I get my way through moose season. Sometimes elk hunting before that, and then I'm in moose hunting mode. I don't even scout deer. I scout moose. I hunt my moose, and when it snows, if it snows right after moose season and it's deer season, I grab my rifle and I head. I got places that I know. If it's no snow, a lot of times I have my boy with me. He's 8, and we'll go to camp in the Adirondacks or whatever, and we'll just walk into places and look for sign. And that way there, when I get snow, I know where to go. I can say, hey, there was, big tracks over here or whatever.
Right.
Oh, yeah, a comment from Anthony. So, what's up, boys?
What's up, Anthony? How's it
What's
going?
up, buddy?
No, I feel like if you want to really test yourself as a hunter, I mean, I feel like Squatch, real quick, have you hunted kind of up in that area or just mainly in New York and New Jersey?
I spent some time in the Adirondacks, not just on deer, on snowshoe hare. I deer hunted in a town called Newcomb, which is up by Johnstown, not Johnstown, Gloversville. Gloversville? No, not Gloversville.
Yeah, Newcomb's big country.
Newcomb was Finch and Pine paper mill land that we hunted on. It was on an association called the Goodnow Flow. A friend of mine I grew up with, his parents had a cabin up there, and take a 16-year-old kid with an SKS. That's what I hunted with back then because I was a freaking
I had one too.
Yeah. But here I am still hunting in the Adirondack Mountains with an SKS at 16 years old, hair down to my ass just about. And what an amazing freaking place. Very hard hunting though. Very hard hunting. You'll see doe up there that are like 35, 40 years old. They got veins, like varicose veins in their legs because they don't shoot doe up there. And I'll tell you, there was an old timer up there that had a woodshed with racks, I mean, bigger than my big boy, on his freaking woodshed. And I'm like, oh my God, they're from up here. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, and you put it on the woodshed? I'm like, what the frig is wrong with you? Put it in the house, But amazing. The Adirondack Mountains is really beautiful. It's a freaking awesome place to hunt. But yeah, I never killed anything up there except for snowshoe hares. Never shot a deer up there, but it's cool. Really nice.
Dave, have you hunted up in that region? No,
never been up there. UP is probably be the closest.
Yeah, your UP is closest to the
Canada area.
Yeah. I still think though, like, I feel like if you really want to test yourself as a hunter, you gotta go up in their neck of the woods.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like you can be like this great bow hunter out here, because I think I can't remember who I was talking to, but Mark Kenyon went up there for like a week and didn't see like more than 2 deer.
Yep.
But I think if I remember hearing right. So I was like, yeah, if you really want to test yourself just to see deer, that's the place to go up there to really test not even your hunting skills, but your woodsmanship. I mean, we talk about how we can be better hunters, and we don't bring it up as much, but being an actual woodsman, and Nick, I want to dive into your brain about this, being an actual woodsman and a true outdoorsman plays a huge key into that factor. And I think we're losing that factor in hunting itself. Nick, do you have anything on that thought?
Yeah, definitely. There's so like when I'm right at the perfect age where I started before the GPS was even like super popular, right? Like I started with my dad used to go to the local, I think it was called Eastern Mountain Sports. It was like a hiking, rock climbing store, and they had maps, and he would go to the store and they would print out the maps that you wanted, these topo maps, and we would try to get them on like the plasticky paper. It was like waterproof and
tacky paper.
Yeah. And I had a compass, I had like an old Sunto compass or whatever. And where our camp is in the Adirondacks, we can go it's like 16 miles or something behind camp before you hit a road. It's huge. So we used to there's an old fire road that goes a little ways, not very far, but we would kind of go out that a little ways, and there's some other camps there or whatever. So we'd walk out that, and then you're just out in the middle of nowhere. So that's how I started. And, I kind of, in a way, I almost feel like I kind of got a cheat in that and I had a cheat code. Like I just was never uncomfortable in the woods. I just always was like, well, we're going this way. Out is this way. Like there's a river over there. There's a pond over there. And I just felt super comfortable. And then I had, when deer season was over, when I was a kid, I had my mom used to drive me up in her car and drop me off at the base of Mount Mansfield Mountain with my 22. And I would track snowshoe hare.
Nice.
No dog. I would just track them like I was tracking a deer. She would go hang out with my aunt at my aunt's house and come back in a few hours, and like there was no cell phones or anything. Like you think of, I think of people, doing that now. People my age now having kids, and there's no way, they
that
just
art is dead. I will honestly say that art is dead.
Yeah.
It is very small percentage of people that do that. Because I grew up in the 70s and 80s, like Squatch. I'm 55, and I lived out in the country. And there was we were 10, 11 miles from the closest town, and it was all woods. And that's pretty much my uncle gave us a compass. We'd walk out in the middle of the woods and say, find your way back.
Yeah, we use a lot of dead reckoning too with the compass, man. I remember one time I was up in Newcomb, and it was we got lake effect snow up there coming down, and I was up there with a buddy of mine. It snowed so damn hard, I came back out to my own foot tracks, and I was like, "Oh God, that's not good." And I settled I'm a kid now. Remember, I settled myself down. I was like, "Look, use your compass, dead reckon. Just pick something and go straight. Get to that point, pick another spot, keep going straight. Use that compass as your bearing and get out." And like you said, you had a river and a pond when you were a kid. You knew kind of where that stuff was. We had the flow, so the flow was towards camp. The next river would take you away to a mile, 16 miles to another road, and you would have a problem. So you knew to get to that area. And I got out. It was dark. The guy I had brought up there was worried to death. There was no cell phones. And I had icicles hanging off me. That's how freaking bad it was. He's like, "Oh my God, I thought you were dead." I'm like, "Nah, dude, I just got a little turned around, but I got out,
But that is a lost art.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny too, because of that, almost, I went right from doing that to I got I had the blue E-Trex Garmin GPS.
I had one too.
I got it right up there.
I had an orange one.
Orange one. Yep, I got it.
Yeah,
too.
It didn't have shit in it though, right? It was like you marked the truck, and then you knew where you were, and you're like, "Oh yeah,
yep."
The screen is gray. There's a pond in between there, but it doesn't show it.
Yeah. It's got the pixels of an old Apple computer.
Yeah, and then you go, now you go to Onyx, and it's almost a pet peeve of mine now, because these guys got Onyx and they got the Spartan Forge and the Hunt Stand and whatever, and then I see them in places in the middle of nowhere, and I think to myself, I always try to read people, and I'm usually a really good read, and you can look at somebody and know, man, if your phone died right now,
you're done.
You wouldn't be happy to be where you're at, And so it kind of, in a way for me, it kind of ruined some wilderness areas, and like shed hunting. I would have never told anybody what I'm about to tell you right now, but how I used to find the best places to find moose antlers, I would sit at home with the old the Gazetteer, the freaking map, right? The book, the map book, and I would open Google Earth. And I would go to Google Earth, and I would find these logging roads that don't have names on Google Earth, and match it up on the book, and then find where there was cuts that looked like they would be really good for wintering moose, and I would circle that spot on the map.
Nice.
And then drive out there and just hope that I had circled a good area. And so I was basically making Onyx without having it. And we used to just fill the truck with antlers. And then Onyx came out, and there's people everywhere. It's
yeah.
So did you had plot books too? I'm sure your dad used plot books.
I don't think so.
No, they had the property, who owned the property, and then it had basically a topo.
Elevations. Because where we hunted, it was always state land or whatever. Anyways.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, you're talking more off a tax ledger, basically, and it was a record of that, who owned the property, and then it was
It's actually a book you could get for your county.
Okay.
And you could get it, and it would have lists of the lakes.
Oh, I see.
And it had the depth charts on it. It would have elevation changes, and then it would have property and who owns what where.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We had those when we were kids.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
You're muted, Brett.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
No.
Oh, there we go.
What? Huh?
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I think if you're going to look at the directional side of everything, I think you're either born with it or not. I mean, you can kind of train it and guide it into people, but I think you either have it or you don't. I mean,
yeah.
I remember there's times with my wife, I'm slowly getting there. Even with my mom, I'm just like, all right, you gotta go northbound. We gotta get to my parents' house. You don't know where we're at and stuff like that. You guys say we're going northbound on this road, westbound and stuff like that. And she's like, well, I don't know which way is west. I'm like, all right, let's break things down. Where's the sun at? It's the first biggest key, right?
Yeah.
And it, like I said, I grew up where my dad was like, all right, we're going to go out in the woods and it's midnight basically. All right, find your fucking way home. And you had to find your way home. And I'm happy. I'm grateful that he did that because it taught me how to basically, I'm going to say survive, but understand how to get to places. Yeah.
Direction's the biggest lifesaver.
It is. I mean, you could be stuck out in the middle of the woods. I mean, we're just talking about it, but you can be stuck out in the middle of the woods. And if you don't know the direction of north, west, east, or south, you are fucked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then it all goes away. That all goes away when you're in a snowstorm. There's no sun. You don't know where it is. And, you know, that's the thing I ran into because, you know, years ago, I remember walking in the woods with my grandfather and he'd be like, remember, son, the sun's at your back on your right side. So on your way out, make sure it's, you know, to your other shoulder. Okay. And when it's got a snowstorm or some shit like that, you don't have that. Now you got to, you know, use your compass, use your dead reckoning, work your way out. And it's, you know, those are things there that you know, the kids today coming out, like you said, you rely on your Onyx, you get out there. Hey man, you lose your phone, falls out of your pocket, you're screwed. You better know how to get out of the woods, or it dies, or it's just, you know,
can't totally rely on electronics.
Yeah, but what's very nice about it is, you know, when you get in and pre-scout an area, maybe you've never gone before, like we've got state land up here too, and it's like, you know, it'll give you a little bit of an edge. You know, you can kind of plan stuff. But I'll tell you what, it screwed me over. I was going to a head of a hollow, and I figured, oh, I can cut about 10 minutes out of my walk if I go straight up and get into this, you know, spot. And I was in the dark, and I'm going up, and I started getting into mountain laurel, and I got more mountain laurel and more mountain laurel. And I'm like, oh, it's got to end soon. And I'm telling you, man, I never been so freaking scared. I got up in there, and it was like entangling me. It was so thick. And finally, I broke through on top of that ridge where I was going to get to that head of that hollow. And I had like a sigh of relief, man, after I got out of that crap. And it was already daylight. I'm like, well, I just pushed like 36 deer to probably somebody that's, you know, 200 yards over there, but I got to where I wanted to go. Yay, you know.
Flavors of the Forest here commented, I'll pop it back up here on the screen. You have to be able to find direction in the woods. It gets so thick here, you can't see it in the sun.
Yeah.
And retro, for anyone that doesn't know, Flavors of the Forest is based out of Oregon.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm really curious, real quick, before we run our quick commercial break.
Yeah.
I wonder how thick you get the thickness compared to Oregon and Vermont, like the North Pacific Northwest to the Pacific Northeast. Like, what do you think? Who
got to be taller trees in Oregon? I mean, it's all big. Yeah, I could be wrong too. I've never been there.
I mean, there's a lot of redwoods out there. I mean, I get that.
Well, you got pine. You know, you got the straight.
I think
pines.
they both have their different types of being thick woods.
Yeah.
Because like I think a lot of woods out there, they're more just straight, tall trees, and there's just a bunch of them in a row. That's my
big
feeling. And up in Nick area, and Nick, you're in the area that where it's Nick. Words are hard. I swear to God, I'm smart. I feel like yours is just like compact, tall, small, medium, and you're just like swamped.
Oh yeah, it's like I know like coastal, like the coastal areas where they hunt like those Roosevelt elk and stuff.
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of like jungle type crap when you get close to the coast, and that's thick. Ours is very like, ours is, we have some thick swamps and stuff, but ours is elevation dependent, kind of like if you start getting up above, 28, 2,900 feet, 3,000 feet, man, those trees get short.
Yep.
And the only thing that goes through there is a bunny rabbit or a fisher. I mean, I laughed the first time we went to Colorado elk hunting. We told the locals, we were having some luck or whatever. We went to town to get a room and take a shower after about a week, and they asked where we were hunting, and they're like, "Are you up in the dark timber?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, we were above 10,000 feet the whole time." And they're like, "Man, that dark timber is nasty," And I'm like, I say we all laughed. We were thinking to ourselves like, not really. Like, you get up on the mountains here. Like our mountains are small compared to their mountains, but I mean, it is thick. It's impenetrable. The deer don't go above, about the 3,000 foot mark. It's depending on each mountain, it's a little thicker or more open. But
Flavors of the Forest comment: Campy can start 80 feet over your head. That's just freaking insane. Go on to say, but walking through the woods and the old growth is easy. Just small manzanita trees and ferns, but can be super dark even during the day.
Wow. It's probably a lot like the UP up by where our property was, where it was all super together cedars, thick super cedars, and then it was backed up to like 10,000 acres of meat paper, so it's all birch and poplar, and it's like you can't walk through it. And when you get into the cedars, it's like nighttime all the time. Yeah, it's super thick, and like Brett knows what it's like up there in the UP. And the cedars, man, it's probably a lot like that. It's just dark and thick.
Well, we're gonna take a quick little 2-minute break. So go get yourself a potty break. Go get some beer. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break.
Hey, go ahead and season your meat with something great. Try Flavors of the Forest raw garlic dust, made with only the finest ingredients for the finest wild game. Go ahead and use promo code Whitetail to save 15% on your next purchase. Go check them out.
Hey guys, how are you? It's the Squatch from the Whitetail Advantage. Hey, listen, have you guys tried rec broadheads yet? Well, if you haven't, you're really missing out. I've been shooting rec now for over a year, and I'll tell you what, they fly straight, they fly true, and they're deadly, deadly on a deer. You can get the HXPs, you can get the FX4s, or you can just get the regular HPs. Guys, take it from the Squatch. The guys here at Whitetail Advantage, you can't go wrong with the rec broadheads. If you tune in, you watch our show, you can use the discount code for rec, WA15. And that'll give you 15% off your purchase. And you guys tell them that the Whitetail Advantage and the Squatch sent you. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. The show's going to be great. Squatch out.
Hey, you guys have a passion for the outdoors? You faith-based and love bow hunting? Go check out Bow Addicts. It's BOWADX. Genesis 27:3 says, take your bow and a quiver full of arrows. Go out into the open country to hunt some wild game for me. While we all love to go out and hunt wild game, we'd love to also wear it and represent what we believe. So go check out Bow Addicts and use promo code WHTADV10 to save 10% off your next purchase. That's WHTADV10 at checkout. Tell them the Whitetail Advantage crew sent you.
And we're back. Yeah, real quick. So the commercials that we run, we put our names to it. We strongly believe in the products that we do. We aren't just teaming up with products out there to put our name to products. We put our name to it, especially my name. Everyone on the team, we put our name to it. We strongly believe in that product. So enough of that. So I just got a text from Flavors of the Forest here, and some of the photos that they sent me, it really looks just like the UP. So if anyone here from Michigan is listening, out there, it really does. Like you said, Dave, it looks just like the UP. And I think at least Dave and I can agree on this point. If you're going to think of anywhere like the Pacific Northwest, up in Vermont area, our next thing that we're going to try to compare it to is the UP, because it's its own basically peninsula, obviously, but it's I don't know how to describe the UP.
It's not like down here.
It's not exactly. It's nothing.
Yeah, the terrain is way harsher there, I would say, than here. I definitely don't have the hardwoods that we have up there.
Yeah, it's.
You don't have all the oaks and maples, and
you guys talk. I want to see if I can get this video up on the screen here, because Nelson just sent me a video of what's it like, and that looks like a horror movie, and like where you'd see Squatch hanging out at, like either the Squatch and legit Bigfoot. I mean, it looks beautiful. Oregon's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can get this up on the screen. You
Go
guys,
ahead. We'll chat.
Yeah.
We'll chat.
Yeah. So did you see my little table I got right there, Squatch?
Yep.
With my little.
Talk about Vermont, not about what.
It looks good, man. I saw it on the Instagram too. You're on mute, Dave.
It's like working with a bunch of 3-year-olds, Nick. I am so sorry. And he's still muted.
You're still muted, Dave.
See, you would have to deal with around here.
Dave, you old bastard, figure it out. Oh my God!
There he is.
I don't know why. There you go.
Well, that was our section of the show called Deaf Mute, where Dave just imitates a deaf mute. Yeah. And he starts hand signaling, and then it's up to Nick to figure out what the hell he's even saying.
Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's where you were hatched out of a nutshell.
Yeah, definitely out of a nut.
So, Nick, in the Adirondacks, where the heck you hanging out at, bud?
Kind of all over. This year, I found a new spot.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have much snow, and like I said, I kind of, I don't even really hunt if there's no snow. I just kind of hike around with a gun and look for deer signs. So,
what kind of gun? What kind of gun do you carry? You carrying the old Remington or?
Yep, I carry a 760 carbine.
Nice.
With a Skinner peep sight on it.
Cool.
And
odd 6 or 270?
Odd 6.
Yep.
Yep. And I've got one. I've actually got one just like it. It's basically brand new.
Nice.
Of course, it's an old gun. It's a late 60s or an early 70s, but
they're the best.
It's a 308 factory carbine. So that I've got that just sitting in the safe right now, waiting for my 8-year-old to get big enough for that to be his.
There you go. That's cool, man.
That's my favorite cartridge is a 308.
Yeah, if I'd have found 2 of them, I probably would have used the 308 too. But the guy that I bought them from, he had an odd 6 and a 308. So
nice.
Odd 6 has always done me well. So, anyways, this spot this year, I hiked way into a place with my buddy, and neither one of us had ever been there. Okay. And we figured if we got way back in there, there'd be some snow because it's in the high peaks there. Yeah. And not too far from where you were talking about. So
right.
We got, I think, we got like 4 miles in there, and there was snow.
Mm.
And he didn't want to go back the next day because he didn't see any real big tracks or anything. And that area, I think, doesn't have any of the bigger bodied deer, really. I think you'd find an older buck there that had still kind of an average walk to him. So I decided I was going to go back. I went back a second day, and I've been running the little stagger backpack with the GoPro over the shoulder.
Yeah, that's cool.
And and I saw a buck that day, and I elected not to shoot him. It was a little basket rack 8-pointer. It was super foggy.
Yeah.
Kind of warm, so the snow was melting.
Mm-hmm.
And the third day, I'm like, man, I'm going to go right back in there. And, well, man, had never been in there either. And, there wasn't too much going on. So I'm like, why don't you come in there with me? And I figured it had snowed just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, there was like an inch of new snow when we got in there. And I told him, I said, there's kind of like these 3 smaller mountains on the way into the big mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And this one pass was real hot. There was tons of scrapes in there, and you could see old deer trails in there. And all the hunting pressure was on the lower side of the trail. Mm-hmm. All the locals and everybody was just hunting this big flat down below.
Yeah.
So I sent him in there, and I went up through another pass. I actually went through the pass where I'd seen the buck the day before, and I was making a loop around, and I heard a gunshot, and I Pretty much knew it was him, and because we're so far in there, and I decided I was going to swing around. I wasn't seeing any tracks, and I'm like, man, I sent him right into the honey hole, I guess. So I might as well get on the other side.
I'm sorry, Nick. I didn't mean to call you off. I didn't think it'd pop up right away.
Oh, that's all right.
Sticks out like a sore thumb.
Oh, he's showing us the
again, Nick. I'm sorry. I thought this would pop up in the waiting room right here.
That's okay.
So this is where the Bigfoot pyramid is.
It looks real familiar to me.
It's crazy.
It's your backyard.
It's where I linger in the middle of the night.
Yeah, there's Brett staring in your back window.
Yeah, hi, Adam. So, Nick, continue on, man. This story was really getting good until Brett screwed it up. Thanks a lot, Brett. Jesus.
I'm used to it.
So you pop back in there after the next day.
So we went in there, and like I said, I heard a gunshot, and I wasn't seeing any signs, so I figured I'd make a big swing, cross this creek that's way up in there, this mountain stream, and of course I crossed that, and there's buck rubs all along the alders, right? If any stream like that in the mountains where there's alders, the bucks, it's like they have to rub them. Either a beaver's got to chew the thing, or a buck's got to rub it.
Or a damn snowshoe's going to run through the alders when they're being chased by a beagle. But go ahead.
Yep. And so to be quite honest, I wasn't seeing any deer sign, and I'm like, man, I might have to come back in here with a brook trout rod, and it's like 5 miles in there. So I'm like,
I love brook trout.
I'm kind of like 5 miles, probably not worth it, but I'm just crazy enough to do it. So I cross it, and I get up on the ridge, and I was going to just kind of loop around and head his direction. And I got on this, there was an old buck track. It was snowed in. It was from the day before, but it was way bigger than anything I'd seen in there. So I'm like, I'm just going to follow it. It's going the direction I want. And I'm following it. And I kind of just turn and look up the ridge, and I see this buck trotting right down this finger, headed right toward me.
Nice.
And I pull my gun up, and I'm waiting. And of course I just passed up a buck the day before that was probably a 2.5-year-old. And this buck runs down, and he's like coming right at me, and he stops at like 30 yards. And I can just see, he's got decent brow tines, and he's standing there like, don't have a lot of time to think. And I got an itchy trigger finger, so I dumped him and got up there, and it was just a big 6-pointer. And I'm like, whatever, that's cool, that was fun. And I was, you always wish they're a little bit bigger, unless they're giant. But I was pretty happy with him, and new spot and everything, and I got him on film, so I was like, oh, that's cool. And I pulled my phone out of my pocket, and I took it off airplane mode to send my old man a text.
Yeah.
And as soon as I took it off airplane mode, it started ringing. And it was him. And so I answered it, and he's like, was that you that just shot? And I said, yeah, that was me. And he's like, it sounds like you shot where I shot mine. And I'm like, oh, you got one? And he's like, yeah, I got an 8-pointer.
Oh.
And I'm like, all right, well, I said, I'll deal with this one, and then I'll head your direction and help you drag yours, and we'll come back for mine tomorrow. So I dragged mine off the mountain, left him at that brook trout stream, hiked up the mountain through the pass, and hit his drag trail, followed him out, and he had just got to the hiking trail when I got to him. So it was a couple miles out from there. And the next day we went, we're not messing around. So straight from the truck to my deer and back, it was like 9 3/4 miles or something.
Oh my gosh.
So it was a haul, and it, it's always an adventure. That's kind of what I like about the Adirondacks. And I always tell people I like new spots too. I just did a couple seminars at our sportsman show that we have here in Vermont. And that was like the biggest piece of advice I gave everybody. I was like, the last 9 or 10 bucks I've killed have all been in places I've never even been before.
Yeah.
Because I don't scout. I don't do any deer scouting. I wait for it to snow, and I go in the woods and look for a buck track. So it's always fun to explore new country. And I feel like if you keep going into the same spot, you end up with bad habits. You're like that buck from last year and the year before, he did this. So you just expect every buck to maybe be where that one was, or do what that one did.
Yeah, you're right. You're going to have one shot at a mature buck.
Yeah.
And once you get into one spot, that spot's pretty much toast for a while.
Yeah.
So you got to move on to another spot, because the mature bucks are smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they're mature. So yeah. You almost have to go back to the same spot the next day is going to be make it. Every time you keep going back to that same spot, it's going to get harder and harder and harder to hunt a buck.
Yeah, that is the one benefit with tracking, though. If you have good snow, he can never really get away.
That's the best way to do it, though. If you're just tracking spot and stalk.
Well, I've read the books. I had the Benoit family book and read on how they used to hunt, and I'm sure you're familiar with them. I mean, amazing.
Yeah, I know Lanny pretty good.
Oh, okay, cool. Very, very cool dude. Never had the pleasure of meeting him, but watched him on a lot of different interviews, watched his shows and stuff. But just the way him and his father would hunt, they would talk about how they would tag team a mountain. And one guy'd be at one elevation, another guy'd be at the other, and they kind of bounced the buck back and forth between them. And they would continue on a deer for like 2 or 3 days before that deer tired out. They'd pick up the trail the next day, and they figured where the buck would circle back around. And, it was just a matter of time. They would run a deer they would time it. They'd run a deer till he jumped like every 150 yards, that deer would jump. And he'd say, okay, I get on him again, another 150 yards, he'd jump. And he'd see the deer getting more tired or more curious, stopping, standing longer, seeing what's on its tail. And they would finally get a shot at it. And, you're talking no technology. You're talking, they're Indian blood, just like I'm part Blackfoot, Natchez Indian. So for those guys to learn that from their ancestors and learn those tricks and then get those shots off, I mean, I think they never even took a deer like under 280 was like their averages through all the years. They had each son, Lanny and his father, Larry, and all them. They had the stats all lined up in that book. And it was like, 250, 280, 260, year after year after year. That's what they killed. And I mean, dude, I know they grow big deer up there, but still, that's an amazing feat to be back to back like that every year. It's amazing.
Yeah.
With primitive deer.
I think the biggest thing, like, if you got good tracking snow and it's not going to melt and it's, like, it doesn't even have to. I used to I would get myself down and I would be really negative if the snow was crunchy. If you had some sunny days and then you have a cold day.
Yeah.
My last 2 bucks I've shot in Maine tracking, were both good mature bucks. Well, this was this year's with a muzzleloader.
Damn,
but the other one was last year was 143 or something.
Right.
It was crunchy when I got both of them. And I think that's the biggest thing that I learned was, like, as long as you got snow, you just got to go and you got to follow them and you got to do what you can do. And at some point they're going to make a mistake, And I had a guy ask a question in a seminar about, outsmarting the deer or something to that effect. And I told him, I said, if you want to really put it in plain, simple terms and make yourself feel horrible, a coyote and a bobcat have to catch a deer with their mouth. They have to run up and bite him. All we got to do is see him. Like, I got a rifle. All I got to do is see him and he's dead. And we still can't do it most of the time, and a bobcat and a coyote have to actually chase him down or, jump out of a tree if it's a bobcat. But you know what I mean? Like, the odds are way in our favor with a rifle, and we still, for the most part, are that bad. Even the best of us,
Yep.
I'm not going to make no comment on that.
What tips do you have? I mean, you're telling me you're going at least 4.5 miles one way when you're going in, and you got to pull that animal back out. I mean, do you carry like a roll-up plastic sled? Do you have a jet sled that you use? I mean, is there, are you throwing them on your freaking back? I mean, how are you getting these deer out of there? That's not an easy feat, man.
Yeah, so I usually worry about it once I get them, which is also a lot of, I've heard a lot of people say that too. Like, man, I would never go back in there. Like, how would I get a deer out? Like, man, you get a sled and you get some good buddies to come help you, when we're getting these deer, if there's snow, if I'm tracking and there's snow, then it's cold enough where I can leave that deer, for a couple nights if I have to. But I tell you what, a jet sled sucks.
Too bloated.
I used to think they were great, but I'm telling you what, you go to the hardware store in November, December before Christmas, and that's when the hardware stores start getting all the kids' winter sleds in.
Those roll-ups. Yeah.
Well, you find one of those skinny ones.
Yep.
Like that the old timers used to use for ice fishing.
Yeah.
Where it's made for like 3 little kids to get in it, all back to back to back, like a toboggan.
The little plastic ones. Yep.
Yep. Get one of those that's like rugged. That's not gonna break. Me and my dad and all of our buddies, we all have the same brand one now. There's a place here that has them. I'm telling you what, we beat the snot out of those things with deer, and we haven't had one break yet.
Nice.
Most of the time though, I'm just dragging them. I'm just dragging them out. Usually I park the truck low and I hunt up high onto a mountain. So it's downhill anyways. And most of the time I just struggle, but.
Old school stuff always works better.
Yeah.
Than new
We used to
stuff
use
most of the time.
industrial garbage bags. The ones that are really heavy duty that my uncle used to get from the county that are super thick. You throw them in there and you could drag them. And then we used to do the sleds, drill holes down the side of the sleds, and you could run basically rope, twine. We'd have a handful of twine and back and forth and just drag it out.
That's what we do. Yeah. We drill holes in ours and we just use 550 cord, go over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't have that when I was a kid.
I got it.
Stuff is amazing.
I got it real hard. I just shoot a deer and then I drive the Wolverine back there and just kind of pick his ass up and throw him in the back. And if that don't work, I drive the backhoe back there and flip him into the bucket. But not all the time. If I'm hunting the mountains up where the 2 8-pointers that are next to the big boy, they took about 2 hours to get out. We drug them out, but that was just holding the horns and pulling them out. You know, it was just it's good stuff. You know.
Before I ask one of my questions here regarding the state, hey Squatch, you want to have your segment?
Yeah, I'd like to have my segment. So we're gonna call this the Squatches segment from here on out, and it's a little something. I kind of robbed it from a little meme that I saw, but I want to use it because I think it's pretty damn funny. So I'm gonna start out with our guest Nick. Nick, the segment is called "Things You Wouldn't Say to the NCON Officer." What would you say that you wouldn't say to the NCON officer?
Oh, what is this, a game?
Yeah.
Things you wouldn't say.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Make something up, man. Just imagine yourself coming like unhinged and, you know, like, hey, you know, like, hey, man, you know, like where's the best spot to jack a deer? You know, I mean, it's like something like that. You could you can wing it, man. You don't just come up with something.
Oh, I don't know. Probably bite me. I don't know. Yeah.
All right.
I feel like that would be when you do this, you should like come up with a question like that they would ask you, you know, and then be like, what would be your answer? I think.
That's a good twist on it too.
Yeah.
All right. So Dave, let's hear what Dave would have to come up with if I was an NCON officer and I walked up and said, "Is this your bait pile?"
I would say, "Did you see me on it? Was I over a tree stand on it or hunting over it? No, don't know whose it is."
Yeah, exactly.
I walked up on it and saw it myself.
Yeah. Can you prove that though? I mean, really, you know, you're awful damn close to it. So
now, if you bust out a camera with me sitting in a tree stand, I'm kind of like, that was my cousin.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
You'd have to come up with something.
All right, let's hit up our fearless leader with a question that the DEC would probably ask. Brett, how many shots did you think you were going to take at that freaking mechanical deer?
Justin, well, real quick, thought it was yours.
Oh shit!
Well,
he's choking. Give him some tippy.
Yeah, he needs some tippy cow.
Give him some tippy cow. He's choking over here.
Oh, there he goes. Sip the tippy.
Again, I'm sorry.
All right. So, Mr. Bovin, how many shots did you think it was going to take to kill that mechanical deer?
Enough to kill it.
Enough to kill it.
All of them.
What was the main purpose? What was the main purpose of you not even stepping out of your car to take a shot at that deer, Mr. Bovin? How do you explain yourself?
Because I thought if I run it over with my truck, it wouldn't be so good.
Yeah. If I got out to go up and make it legal, he would run away.
More killing it with my truck than the gun.
I don't have insurance on my truck.
Oh my God.
No. Justin
What?
again until it dropped.
Dropped, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to leave my truck because I got a bunch of weed in there.
And then he said he needed the rest.
Yeah.
I would have said something like, "Oh, my buddy shot a mechanical deer here."
My buddy
LOL.
shot mechanical. Oh shit!
I had a buddy that did it too, up in Reed City, up north, when they first started doing it. He unloaded a whole magazine on it.
Oh my God! So
and they just stepped out and was like busted.
Oh God!
Tell all your buddies, but he got nothing.
Get back to flavors of the forest. What would we put on a mechanical deer for the best flavor? I mean, what are we throwing on there? Horseradish.
You should come up with called jailbait.
Yeah, jailbait, garlic, raw or something, man. We could do something with that.
I'm partial to the horseradish, dude. I love that freaking seasoning.
This isn't the answer to your question, but they said they charged him a bunch of money to fix it.
I bet.
Wow.
Yeah, no kidding. I bet that was and fines and everything.
Yeah. Have you watched
WD-40?
Yeah, WD-40. Have you watched it where they actually catch the guys doing that?
Yeah. There's a show on Discovery, I think it is. One of them.
Yeah.
Game Wardens or something of Maine.
They're called Wardens here in Michigan, and in Maine, it's Northwoods Law.
Yeah.
And then they moved to New Hampshire. I'm surprised they haven't done Vermont yet.
Yeah.
I heard I heard that they wanted to do Vermont first, and the state told them no, so that's when they went to Maine.
That's what I remember. Yeah, because I think it was because what's his stupid names from there?
Lots of them.
The stupid senator Barry, whatever the fuck his name
Barry
is.
White, yes.
Manilow.
Barry Manilow.
Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders.
I highly doubt Barry Sanders is hunting him.
Yeah.
I think you mean Bernie Sanders. I don't
Bernie
think Barry
Sanders.
Sanders.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders. Yeah.
Colonel Sanders.
Nick, thank you for correcting our host who's halfway, you know.
We have to do that a lot.
It's just like half and half sometimes. He was going to say Colonel Sanders because he was thinking of AOC.
Well, we had to stop it.
You know, but we had to stop it. It was just
I could go for some chicken right now.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, you said something about good buddies. Can you explain what those are? Because I have none.
I mean, I think if your buddies are making fun of you, then they're good buddies.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
Nick.
the difference. We're the only one allowed to do it.
We're the only one that'll put up with his shit. I mean,
exactly.
You know,
yeah.
It's really really like comical because, you know, I'm sure if you've heard us talk before, it'll start out a hunting morning of good morning, Dave. How are you? I'm up. Oh, I'm up too. Hey, Johnny, what the hell's going on? Did you see anything yesterday? No. Anybody heard from Brett?
No.
Nope. Usually about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Mr. Bovin automatically starts liking comments, putting his 2 fucking cents in, and maybe showing up to the conversation. And we're like, oh, he didn't die. He's still alive.
Yeah.
Then he comes up with some asinine freaking reasoning bullshit excuse that he was tuning his bow because his sight tape was off and he was 25 yards to the fucking right instead of being dead nuts on.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to go out and take the chance of maybe missing or wounding something because he looked like a complete idiot.
Yeah.
So that's what happens. But anyway, back to the show, back to my segment. Let's ask the Squatch a question of just what the hell would happen. So Squatch, the Encon officer wants to ask you something. Go ahead, Mr. Encon officer. What did you have to shoot the Squatch for? Well, nobody thought the bastards were real. And I say, if I ever see one in the woods, I'm killing it till it hits the ground. It's going to go in the back of my 2500 Chevy, and I'm driving around town with the son of a bitch.
And then getting it mounted.
Yeah. Oh, full body mount. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know. It wouldn't fit in my damn house, but whatever. We'll make something work.
We'll go build a pole barn.
Yeah. So cool. Well, Nick, I want to thank you for playing the game. I like your spin on it. I'm going to come up with a bunch of questions that the DEC officer would ask you. So that's great.
Yeah.
Good little segment. We'll put a twist on it, but gave us some insight on it. So that's cool.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
Nick, I want to ask you one question about Vermont before we ask you a rapid fire questions. Okay.
Go.
When is the hunting season starting and what's it like out there in Vermont?
Oh, geez. You would ask me that.
You don't have to be exact because we'll fact check you on here, so you better be right about it.
No
is
more
it like
fact
Facebook
check.
fact checking, or is it real, or is it like Facebook?
Fact checking is me going,
Facebook's
oh yeah,
real.
you're right.
Well, he is
So,
friends with Bernie Sanders, so I mean, you know.
Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
I think the archery starts like October 1st now. It used to be the first Saturday, I think. Now it's October 1st,
Yeah,
and it
we
runs like to mid-December. And then we have like the first week of December is muzzleloader, and then if you go back a week before that, there's nothing, and then the 2 weeks prior to that. So basically, the middle of November is rifle. 2 weeks.
Your prime rut, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Same here.
Yeah.
Do you wish
They
that would
ruined the
change?
rut here.
Do you wish that would change, Nick?
No. So we did away with spike horns for a while, and that seemed to have an effect. Because I'm also a scorer for our trophy club and for Northeast Big Buck and
Cool.
Maine and New Hampshire. So, like, I saw that had an impact. You know, we talked about it. Not shooting spike horns let not only spike horns live, but 3-pointers and 4-pointers. And then they kind of changed it back because, you know, a lot of guys they want to shoot a buck, and they felt like their opportunity was lesser. But I think they should go back to that fork. You know, one buck a year and a fork. You know, to make our trophy club for a whitetail deer, doesn't matter what you use for a weapon. It's 110-inch deer makes our trophy club. I think New York, New Hampshire, and Maine are all 140-inch. So, you know, you can see that there's a problem here. Everybody kind of has their own opinion on it. Pretty sure genetics has a lot to do with it, but also just the feed and you know, there's a lot of factors. But
Real quick, I want to ask now is, do you think the DNR listen to you as hunters of like your opinion on how you think what should be changed on the conservation side of it? Because here in Michigan, they don't care anything that we have to say.
No, they don't care.
So it's not just us then, Dave.
No,
because we've been pushing for how long to go to 1 buck?
Well, it's not even 1 buck. I think it was to get to 1 buck, or I think there was another one we were trying to do something with the APR. And Justin, let me pop his up. He commented, not here in Indiana. That's surprising. I feel like Indiana would listen to their hunters, especially being like a big red type of state. I feel like they would listen to their hunters more.
They got bigger bucks down there too,
and they know what they're doing. So they don't need to, because they know what the fuck they're doing. But I feel like you should still take input from the hunters itself.
Yeah. Well, they didn't even listen to Ted Nugent when he came to talk here to the DNR.
Yeah, you don't listen to Uncle Ted. They basically, you can be yelling at a wall and they don't give 2 shits.
Yeah, and he probably knows more about deer conservation than anybody at our DNR.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just surprising. Well, Nick, I just want to say thank you so much, man, for coming on the show. Before we let you go, though, we got some rapid fire questions we want to shoot your way, okay?
Let's do it.
Hurry up. Go blank.
See, but real quick, the rapid fire questions. Hang on. Justin commented real quick. They used to when I was a kid, but now they just try to get you slipping. Yeah, that's just a shame. So the rapid fire segment question was supposed to be like, all right, yes, no, yep, let's get this going. It's eventually turned into like an hour segment of itself. So anyways, besides hunting, do you have any other hobbies or interests?
Yeah, I mean, I shed hunt a lot and fish, ice fish, pretty much everything outdoors. Nice. Not really an inside type of guy.
Yeah. What wild game animal is on your bucket list to hunt?
Yukon moose with a bow.
Nice.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Nice.
What is a wild game animal you want to try eating?
I've had a lot of it, but I was a kid the last time I had caribou, and I remember that it was awesome. So I would like to eat some more of it.
I'm hearing that it's from a lot of people that go caribou, that do caribou elk and everything, that it's the best tasting meat.
Yeah.
I'd like to try
I've
it.
heard-
I've had elk, but I haven't tried caribou, and I'd like to.
I think people think I'm crazy, but I always tell them that I would trade them their moose meat for my deer meat any day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, moose is next level.
Yeah.
What's your favorite state you hunted and why?
I'll probably say Maine. Just because, out of the states here in the Northeast, that's where most of my biggest bucks have come from. And also there's just a lot of opportunity. You can hunt, if a guy wanted to live in Maine and hunt every way that you could hunt, you could pretty much do it. If you hunted coastal areas, you could get into more suburban type areas and hunt with a bow and, be where there's a lot of houses, but there's small tracks and there's a lot of acorns, and the deer have really easy winters in those areas, and they shoot some wicked bucks. And you can always tell when somebody posts a picture of one where it came from. Like I always say the antlers from those southern Maine deer, they just always look like they're made out of driftwood. Like they just always have like that look where you're like, yeah, that's an old deer. They just get palmated. They have really good mass. Their genetics are super cool. And then, if you wanted to be a tracker, all you got to do is drive north and you can hunt, all the flat logging country of far northern Maine, from Allagash to Lincoln, Bangor, Millinocket, everything north of Katahdin and west to Jackman. If you're a guy like me and you really like mountains, you've got the New Hampshire border from the White Mountains basically all the way to Jackman, on the other side. You can run bobcats with hounds, and you can bait bears and run bear with hounds, and the bird hunting is phenomenal. You can rabbit hunt, moose, you put in for moose. So Maine it's a cool place.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to go there.
What is the top state you want to hunt next?
The one that I think I'm going to hunt next, or the one that I would most like to hunt next?
Most like to hunt next.
Arizona, for archery elk in Arizona.
Cool.
It'll probably be Wyoming first, but
yeah. I think you're the first one that says Arizona.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it.
A lot of guys doing New Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah, up in the Gila Mountains were the big boys. Yeah.
Yeah, the Gila's good.
If
I could pick one, I would pick Arizona, but any of those places would be just fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you could pick anybody to go hunting on a hunting trip with, or share a campfire with one time, who would that be?
I mean, I would still say my dad, probably.
Nice.
Yeah.
We've had all the best hunts have been together. He shot his moose with a bow in Vermont when I was with him. He was with me when I shot mine with a bow. He was there when I shot my elk with a bow. The biggest buck I've ever killed, we were actually tracking him together, double teaming. That was a New Hampshire buck that scored 160. So, yeah, I would take Dad.
If you could bring one loved one that passed away to go on a hunting trip with, or a campfire with one time, who would that be?
My grandfather.
Yeah. Was he a lot like your father?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that question's way too easy. Yeah, it would be him. He wasn't a big hunter. He shot one deer, one small deer, but he always loved, when I was a little kid, seeing the pictures of my dad's deer that he had got. And then once I started going, we would like bring our racks over to the house, and they never lived that far away from us. So my whole life I haven't lived super far away, so there was a lot of visiting and stuff. So yeah, we were close, and
well, that's cool.
It would have been cool if he was a little more active in the hunting or whatever, and we would have got to share camp together. But he was super excited to hear the stories and stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of a two-parter question. The first question is, how do you think we can get more people involved in hunting?
I mean, I think if she's laughing, she's gonna laugh at this, but I think the women are a big thing, because I think if you get more women involved, I think they're gonna get more kids involved. My girlfriend's actually the Northeast Regional Director for National Deer Association, which is like it's basically QDMA, right? But it's just called something different now. She lives in New York, but she's in charge of the whole Northeast, which is crazy because I think they classify the Northeast as like Maine to friggin' Ohio down to like Virginia. So it's not the Northeast that we think of.
Wow.
But like, they do a lot of stuff. I actually went over and helped out. They did a women's mentored crossbow hunt, just for the ladies. I think those are big, like it was supposed to be for women mentored by women, but people kind of bailed out, and
that's too bad.
Yeah, but it worked out all right. I ended up being the only well, actually there was the photographer that was going to be there was a guy, and he was a little younger than me. So he was there, and then I was there, and it was funny because him and I could kind of sit back and see the ladies, at the Airbnb at night, and like, man, they were just as excited to just be there and just chill and like be with other women that like wanted to hunt. And I had never like seen that before, because like our camp in the Adirondacks was like no women allowed, because it was like it's like serious, right? Like where they don't drink beer, and like, I mean, there's some beer drinking, but it's like these guys like hunt hard, and so it was always
serious.
Yeah, so it was always like, no women, because I guess they thought that it was gonna like,
ruin it.
Well, like, it would just turn into like something that they didn't want. Like it would get I don't know what the word is, but it would be like
not man camp.
Yeah, like they couldn't just walk around in their undies and just
you gotta
whatever,
watch what you
say. And then so I got to go do this thing this fall and see how that was, and like, man, these women are just like us, you know what I mean? Like they're just walking around in their undies and just doing whatever, and I was like, this is cool, and obviously they feel more comfortable when it's just a bunch of ladies too doing it. So man, I think you get more women involved, you do that kind of stuff, and it was really cool too, because the land was Nature Conservancy land, and so they had like closed off their whole property for that time, so nobody else could hunt it, just so the ladies could have.
That's even cooler.
Yeah, and they saw a deer and had a great time. I had a cool lady with me, and she missed one. Her release went off when she was drawing her bow back. But it was really cool, and I definitely think, because kids are tough. Like if a mom's not into hunting, I feel like it's tougher to get a kid out there, especially how the world views guns now and everything. I think you get women involved, and you get kids involved through the moms and the aunts, and
we're doing something similar. We're doing a kind of a camp this year, but that'd be something I'd be interested in. Maybe we could try something like that, seeing how this thing we're doing this summer of trying to get some women involved over here. Because I know there's a lot of women that hunt here, and if we can get them to draw women that may want to try it, but we're scared to, because like you said, a lot of women aren't going to want to hang around a bunch of dudes,
Yeah.
And it kind of makes them shy and skittish about wanting to try it. But like you said, if it's just a bunch of women and maybe a couple of guys instructing, but a majority of it's all women doing it too, that would be pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, and I definitely think like the teaching part, or like this was a crossbow hunt, so like there was a guy from the Crossbow Coalition there, this older guy, and he had this real smooth looking mustache, and he was a talker, man, and the ladies loved him. They're like, this old guy's, he's cool. And I think, like, just it's fine to have, dudes there teaching about things or whatever. But I think the biggest part was like that when they were in the ground blind, it was a mentor, a lady mentor with a lady hunter. And then they feel real comfortable, like in the big group, it's not a big deal, I don't think, but
more that one-on-one is probably when they would get a little nervous.
Yeah, definitely.
Nick, the last question here, like I said, kind of piggybacks off of that. What do you think we as fellow hunters could or should do to improve the hunting community as a whole?
Oof. We could go down a rabbit hole with this one. Man, I just feel like hunters need to not hate on other hunters,
Yeah, perfect.
I'm not sitting in a tree stand looking over a corn pile, but if it's legal, I'm not going to cut down on the guy doing it. I've had people give me shit because, a lot of the deer that I shoot, tracking's not easy. I mean, most of the deer I'm shooting at are running, and that's controversial. There's a lot of, like, I'm not singling anybody out, but the box blind guys in the Midwest, like, you don't even shoot a deer unless it's perfectly broadside and stuff. You know what I mean? And that's fine. But if I can watch the deer and get a rest and he stands broadside, that's how I'm going to shoot him. But, I think different hunting styles, you gotta take what you get, and, I see guys giving guys shit for taking running shots. And I see guys, just shitting on other hunters when there's not a need for it. I don't know if they trying to make themselves feel better or what the deal, but
what I've learned in the past, when somebody's trying to take attention off themselves by bashing other people, they're obviously not doing something right.
Yeah.
Or self-conscious or whatever.
Everybody has their own skill set that they're good at.
Brett does that a lot to us.
He does. While he's sleeping.
He's a bully. Brett bullies us.
Yeah.
Johnny's the bully.
Who?
Johnny's?
No, you've been stepping up.
You've been stepping up.
I tell you the other thing too is, like, man, there's a lot of people that say a lot of things through social media that they would never say to your face.
Oh yeah.
Keyboard warriors.
Oh, I got a buddy that does a podcast, and he's got a YouTube channel, and he shot a buck this year. I'm going to leave this very vague, but he shot a buck in a place that is hard to. He shot it in the Adirondacks. It's tough, right? Like, if you find a spot where there's some deer, like I saw 8 bucks this year in the Adirondacks, but I've hunted the Adirondacks for a long time. Like, it's tough to find those places, and he shot he only saw 1 buck track, and he shot that buck, and it was a 6-pointer, 2.5-year-old buck, and he had people giving him shit, telling when he posted it, telling him that he was basically telling him that he was a good hunter and he shouldn't have shot that buck because it was small. And man, it stirred up a shitstorm. And I was baffled that somebody felt like, I can understand if you feel that way, you're gonna feel how you feel and you're entitled to your feelings. But, like, man, that dude shot that buck and he was happy. Like, just let it be. Like,
and that's where it should end, right there.
Yeah. It's just I know people
some people are trophy hunters and some people are meat hunters. Some guy is just happy to go out and see a 4-point and he got a buck.
Yeah. I
mean, if he's happy with it, everybody should be happy with it.
Yeah. When it comes down to it, like, I'll tell you guys, like, I'm probably not the best conservationist. Like, I don't shoot does. Like, I don't take the time to go doe hunt. I have a buck tag in each state, and I will fill that buck tag in every state. And I'm a meat hunter first. If it's been a crappy season and there's not a lot of snow, when we get snow, I'm shooting a buck. Like, it might be a 2.5-year-old buck. This year the first buck I shot was the smallest, and I shot 3 bucks tracking, and they continually got bigger. Because you start to realize, like, you have meat, and, like, I don't really need more meat, so it's you kind of want to. Get a little rack for the wall, so.
Yeah.
What was it? Justin here, he said, do what makes you happy. And then Anthony here stated, we're all here for the same thing. Do your thing and help when asked.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all here to have fun, and that's it. I think the people that comment and stuff like that, like Dave said, just keyboard warriors or people that are new to hunting. Well, I don't know what the case may be, but
I'll tell you one thing. That want a trophy hunt, but they think the guys that are shooting the spikes and 4 points are killing all the bucks off, so they're not going to see any big bucks.
Well,
that's totally false.
Well, my thing is, if I see that, I'm gonna be the first one to like defend that person. If I see person A posting a photo and I see person B commenting negatively, I'm gonna be the first person to stick up for person A and bash the fuck out of person B. And I just love seeing. I mean, I don't love seeing people bash on other hunters, but when I come across it, I just like comes a wolf at the sign of the blood and shit like that. I'm gonna fucking feed, man. And you're not gonna like me when I go off. I just think that's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Well,
like back in the day when I was young, we of course we went for bucks. You know, everybody wants to shoot a buck.
Yeah.
But when we were young, when we shot a buck, and we would take it back to my uncle's because that's where we did deer camp. You know, like a mile from my house. It was holy crap, dude! Nice buck, or you got a buck. It wasn't. The first question was, how big was it? That was never even brought up. It was like, hey, my nephew got a buck, or my son got a buck, or, you know, my brother got a buck, you know, and how many points? 6. Oh, yeah, cool. 4 or whatever. It was never how many inches. And that's where, like, when I did my podcast with you, Brett, we got in this big discussion of social media has almost ruined it.
Yeah.
Because anybody that's getting into hunting now, all they're seeing is you got to buy a $2,000 bow. You got to have Sitka gear, and you got to shoot 170-inch bucks, which majority of the people are not going to.
They don't see them in their life.
They're going to see a 170, and if you put your standards that high, you're gonna hate hunting after the first year.
The problem I have with it too is the new younger generation, the young bucks coming up.
Yeah,
may get lucky and they stumble upon a halfway decent buck. Maybe it's 125-inch 8-pointer or something.
Yeah.
Now they're you know, fucking Ted Nugent. They're like, let me tell you how to do it, you know. And you got seasoned veterans like us old dogs on here, and you know, I forgot about more fucking deer than these kids have even seen.
Yeah.
And it's like, you sit there and you go, your day is coming in the sun. You know, your day is just going to shine where you look like a total jackass, you know, and I'm all for helping somebody out. I'm all for educating people who want to learn, you know, but you know, give respect where respect is due. Don't be a freaking know-it-all. Listen, I'm turning 50 in 2 days. Okay. I don't know everything. I still learn from people, you know, and I learn from situations when I'm out there. So be wise, be humble, and learn. Listen. You can learn a lot just by listening to people.
Yeah.
Don't be complacent. You always have to be willing to strive to be better. I mean, knowledge is power. So,
like I was telling you before, my kid found that harsh reality out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because when he did all of his youth hunts, he got a buck every year. But I did all the scouting. I set us up where I knew the deer were, where they were going to come out at, where they're patterning, and opening day, we're done. Opening day, he's got a deer. And then once he turned 17 and he couldn't do the youth hunt no more, and we did a lot of training and stuff. So he's actually pretty knowledgeable. But last year was his first year he ever did solo by himself.
Yep.
And he's seen some small bucks, but nothing came close. And he never had a doe come close enough. And he always would say, deer hunting so easy. Deer hunting so easy.
Yeah, because I got 40 years of knowledge from my dad, putting me in the right spot.
Yeah. And then he went and set a stand up. And he set a stand, and it was an area he was going to see deer. Where he was, they just weren't going to be close.
Yep.
And he wasn't seeing deer. They weren't coming close within range. So
how old's your son?
17.
All right. So when he's going to get to be about 25, 30, and you're still hunting alongside of him, he's going to say, "Here, Dad, go here," and you're going to start shooting the big bucks.
Yeah.
Because it comes full circle. I'm doing it with my old man right now. We go fishing. It's like he's never held a freaking pole and reel in his hand, and I'm putting him on the fish, and and he's like, "You're fucking amazing." I'm like, "Dad, you forgot all the shit you taught me. You're just getting old, And it's like,
Yeah.
It comes full circle. But I don't want to jabber on. We're still on these punching questions here and stuff. So,
No, that was the last one. I was going to read a couple comments here. We're going to end the night.
Yeah.
Justin, I've been hunting 30 plus years and learned something new every season. I mean, that's how it should be. Yeah, we learn something new. Yep. Last comment here. Flavors of Forest. Hopefully your apron makes it time for your birthday, Squatch.
I can't wait to get that apron, man. I'm gonna be like Chef Tell on the fucking.
That thing is pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
I will get it. That it is pretty cool,
dude. Nick, if you haven't used Flavors of the Forest, Nick, and you love to eat venison and wild game, please give these guys a try. It's the best garlic you've ever had. There's all different kinds, spicy. They got horseradish. They got ginger. I mean, sprinkle it on your freaking cornflakes. It's that good. Okay.
I put it on popcorn to try it out, and it's
Campagna. You're Italian, I think, right? Campagna's Italian.
What is it? I think I saw it. Johnny had it was a blueberry barbecue.
That was the salsa from a different company.
Well, that's Nelson's friend, but I asked the same question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But this stuff, we love it. We love it here. We love those guys.
They are very nice. They're nice,
great people, man. And I'm telling you, support the hell out of them. And the stuff is worth every freaking penny. It's so good.
Yeah, I'll have to try them. I pretty much do the carnivore diet thing, so I pretty much have deer every night. So
listen,
it's the same at our house. It's meat every night, one way or the other.
You sprinkle a little bit of that. They call it Bigfoot breath.
Yeah,
it's called Bigfoot breath, but it's freeze dried raw garlic. Comes in a nice sized little bottle, man. Just little sprinkle. Oh,
yeah, if you like horseradish like I do, I put that on. And the weird thing is that it's not an overpowering horseradish.
Yep.
And it's good on everything. I put it on fish.
See, look how nice these guys are. Nick, they're going to hook you up, man.
They'll hook you up, bro.
See,
nice.
these guys are awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't stand, they did comment here, weird sauce, hot sauce. I can't stand spicy stuff, man. I'm a chicken shit.
I love hot shit.
I kid you not. I'm a chicken shit.
I love hot stuff.
Yeah. I put hot sauce on my eggs.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Same here. Man. That's just.
I love hot sauce on my eggs too. So does my kid.
What are the eggs?
Maybe not the day I'm headed up the mountain, but
Yeah. Leaving a little scent trail.
Daniel.
Oh, that's my boy Dan, the one that shoots the monsters down in Missouri. That's my boy that I grew up with.
Dave, that's your friend. You told me that I cook a lot like he does, like the Italian stuff. Yeah.
Taglerini, the Italian stallion.
That's all right. I'm Monteleone. I'm a good old mountain guinea myself. So it's all right.
Yeah, he's a guinea too. But
the flavors of the forest are spicy. Is amazing.
Yeah, eggs.
Yes, it is. I put that on scrambled eggs with cheese.
Well, Nick, I'm going to get busting you off. You have you on the show long enough. I want to say thank you so much for coming on, man. For anyone that wants to reach out to you or follow along your journey, how can they reach out to you, man?
So me and some buddies, we just started a YouTube channel, making tracks.
Cool.
I think I already followed that.
Yeah, I've already subscribed to your channel, man.
I'm doing it right now.
You're going to see that there's not many videos yet. One of them, they hit us with some. When we tried to monetize, they hit us with some copyright crap. And so we got it sorted out. And that video is just not, going to be on the monetized deal. But now that it's sorted out, I got a couple videos about ready to hit. I think I'll probably publish the one tomorrow. New Hampshire buck my buddy tracked. And I've got all 3 of my bucks this year. We're on video. And so we got some good stuff. We got moose footage from the fall. I'll probably post that like this coming September to get people jazzed up for moose season. Turkey hunts and all that stuff. We're gonna go hard in it just because it's fun, not for any other reason.
I'm subscribing right now.
Is that you right here?
Yep, that's us.
Okay.
Yep. You got 3 new subscribers, at least from us 3.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then I'll put it to all so I get your updates every time a new one comes up.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And don't forget to follow me back on Outdoors and More with the Squatch. That's my YouTube channel.
Nobody
Outdoors
cares.
and More.
Nobody
Yeah.
cares.
Squatch, how can they reach out to you, my man?
Well, Mr. Bovin, you can reach the old Squatch on Instagram if you want to follow me on there. Outdoors and More with the Squatch, of course. And like I just mentioned to our distinguished guest, Nick, Outdoors and More with the Squatch on YouTube. Right now is predator season. I just shot a fox at about 70 yards. I posted that video. I pooped out during the middle of deer season, didn't put anything up, which I'm a hunter first, really, but
Yeah.
I'm working on building the channel more and putting some good stuff out there. I want to get some yotes down, and I got time yet, so we'll get some more videos up. But you can find me on there, basically on all the platforms. Don't forget to check me out as always twice a week, because we're a twice a week show. We kick ass out here at Whitetail Advantage. We ain't no wusses that fucking can't stand not doing shit twice a week. And
and we hunt on Saturdays.
And we hunt on Saturdays, and we fucking
in the morning.
And we fish and we freeze our ass off just like every other guy out there. And also don't forget to check me out on our good buddies, the Garden State Outdoorsman, Mike Nitre, Frankie Mustica, all the other boys on there. There's like 50 of them, but a great group of guys. We work together. We promote our shows. Don't forget to check out Garden State Outdoors.
Flavors of the Forest, did you find them? Because I see the comment. It looks like you're having trouble finding them on YouTube. Nick, you have another subscriber in Anthony. You also have another subscriber in Justin. Mm-hmm. And they also, Anthony, they subscribe to you, Squatch.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Brett's.
It's Making Tracks, MAKIN.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Tracks. That's probably why it's hard to find.
Oh, yeah. He wrote making. Yeah. Take out the ING.
Yep.
Or take,
Yeah, I couldn't make it too easy,
Yeah.
Well, you got to differentiate yourself because everybody's got, that's how people notice and remember.
Well, dude, it's like me when I rate Outdoors and More with the Squatch. I'm like, God dang it, I should have just called it Squatch or something and just been done with it. But
yeah,
hey, Anthony, that hurts my feelings that you won't subscribe to us too. So
yeah,
you're gonna make me cry.
Oh.
Justin, he asked, what's Squatch's channel? Can you say that one more time, Squatch?
My channel is Outdoors and More with the Squatch. I'm on YouTube. You'll see a big burly Squatch on there walking through the woods as my get up. So
yeah.
Anthony left. Dave, how can they find you real quick? And then we'll end it with me.
I'm on YouTube, same PSE Mobile Hunter, Facebook and Instagram. And then, I pretty much update. I've been slowly updating some ice fishing content on my YouTube. And I do want to give a shout out to the Garage Guys for my table. They're
awesome.
Freaking awesome. And we're going to be hooking. Hopefully the rest of the guys are going to be hooking up with some tables for their garage bar.
I'm looking forward to that. We're going to fix my garage up.
Yeah, those guys are awesome. And get a hold of Byron Horton.
Dave and Johnny coming over, and we're going to be getting that stuff set up.
Dude, when you start to do that, we're going to have to come over for a weekend and do a guy's weekend build and get your shit all pimped out.
Yeah.
And then probably not leave.
Well, yeah, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. Dave and Squatch, you guys basically were required to come on the show.
Yes.
But Nick, I just want to say thank you so much, man, for coming on the show. It's been a blast. And with that being said, if I can find my freaking cursor here, there we go. I hope you guys have a good rest of your night, guys.
Good night.
Yep. And thanks.
Well, everyone, that's going to conclude another episode of the Whitetail Advantage Podcast. For myself and everyone from the team, we want to say thank you so much for tuning in for tonight's show. It's been a blast. Now, if you want to be a guest on our next live show, or you want myself, anyone from the team, or you want the entire team from Whitetail Advantage to be a guest on your next show, head to our website, www.whitetailadvantage.com, and submit your request through there. Now, we have an open door policy. Everyone's allowed to be on the show. Now, if this show made you think, made you laugh, and give you some new perspective on life, please hit that like and subscribe button. We'd be greatly appreciated. If you have a Carbon TV account, find us on there. And if you can give us a positive review, that'd be greatly appreciated as well. You can also find us at Waypoint TV. Now, our audio versions of our podcast gets released on Mondays and Wednesdays at 5 a.m. Eastern Time, following our live shows from Sundays and Tuesdays that we do at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our YouTube page. Now, last thing here. Don't forget, no excuses, just results. Put that cord in the slot machine. We'll see everyone next time. See you guys.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Whitetail Advantage Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.